Over the past decade, a vast number of companies have committed to sharing information to the stakeholders. This includes information about the company's environment, social and governance activities. A report written by Renard discusses the relationship between sustainability practices and financial performance of construction companies. The information in this report will be certified on its reliability as well as its internal and external validity. The article gathered results from 44 different companies, which was gathered through their annual reports that were posted publicly about the information regarding the ASX stock market. The strengths and weaknesses of the report will also be analysed to see if the report is effective enough to persuade the readers to feel and think a certain way about the topic. In this report, it also provides 3 propositions. We'll discuss these propositions in further detail. The relationship between sustainability practices and financial performance of construction companies is an academic journal which examines the various environmental, social and governance activities that several companies use. This is due to recent demands for transparency via various influential stakeholders. The paper aimed to explain why ESG activities had an impact on financial reporting of construction companies. The report bases its findings on the current climate of non-financial reporting inside of publicly listed construction companies, especially their actions, including the ongoing issues of the following items: the climate change, the environmental management, environmental efficiency, the health and safety, human capital, conduct, the stakeholder engagement, and governance. It then provides the imperial results that determine the impact of issuing non-financial based reports have on the extent of company sustainability practices, which are represented by the ESG scores given. The article found the majority of the public listed construction companies studied have low levels of reporting, resulting in construction companies that issue non-financial reports outperform the ones that have none. However, it was also found that the correlation between the ESG scores and financial performance is not very strong. The use of hard data in this article provides the support that is needed to come to the conclusion mentioned above. The qualitative data was used in writing this article supports the financial ratios which distinguish the companies from one another.
The article also presents 3 propositions. The first one is that publicly listed construction companies have high levels of non-financial reporting. The second one is that construction companies which release and publish non-financial reports have better financial performance than those companies who choose not to. The last proposition is that there is a strong positive correlation between the extent of non-financial practices and financial performance of construction companies. These 3 propositions highlight the fact that a company which tends to be engaged in more sustainability practices have better financial performances than those companies who do not. This is just enforcing the fact that companies should be more open in sharing that kind of information, as it can help boost the reputation of business, which in return would potentially boost its income. The aim of this report is to put the message across that companies should publicly show their non-financial practices in order to boost their company's business. The article uses some good techniques to get this proposition across to the reader by, firstly, constantly reminding the readers that the companies that participate in non-financial practices are actually doing better than those that don't. They also use relevant statistics and numbers to back their statements, which will help obviously emphasise the importance of their message. And they also offer useful information in terms of sustainability in construction companies. It does this by offering different examples of sustainability performance systems. However, this article also has a few flaws that limit its effectiveness in conveying that message. The first one is that the structure of the report is very poor. Large portions of writing make it very hard to get to the point. Also, the way that it is written doesn't make it very appealing to the reader. There's nothing that really attracts the reader to the article. The second one is that there's not enough images and tables to enforce what the article is actually trying to say. Instead of having all the figures represented in words as part of a large paragraph, they perhaps could have tried to show this information in some sort of graph or table. This also would have gave the reader something to look at and analyse on their own, which ultimately would have made the article more appealing. Another thing is that the article overall included too much content and had a lot of content that was a little bit off the topic. And the last thing that they didn't do well was that the article does not consider the size of the company involved in their experiment. So for a large scale company, for example, potential investors are looking to invest in companies of a larger caliber rather than smaller companies because they pose a high risk of not receiving a good return.
On behalf of the University of New South Wales, Renaud has provided a comprehensive report that covers 3 unique theories. It is clear to see that the intended audience of the report is to those currently enrolled or that have previously completed a form of higher education. This is evident in the way that the author has articulated his words and to an extent flooded the report with figures and experiment findings in Proposition 1, 2 and 3. Furthermore, the article tends to lack an explanation regarding experiment results, which is a main contributing factor to this article not being suitable for all audience. Proposition 1 resulted in the majority of the construction companies in the studied sample of the 44 companies listed on the ASX. It was found that there are poor levels of reporting and some had failed to meet the level of demand for transparency set by institutional investors. Proposition 2 clearly shows that companies issuing non-financial reports appear to outperform the group which does not disclose this information. Proposition 3 concludes in there being no strong correlation between company performance and disclosing the non-financial information. To be able to completely analyse and critique the article, it is crucial to pick up on the underlying message that has not clearly been presented throughout the article. This message being that it is one thing for Renaud to present his findings and then another to show how this can positively contribute to business performance. For practitioners, the experiment and findings can be significantly beneficial towards a business, which in turn can potentially result in growth of the business if the findings are applied in the correct manner. Through completely disclosing reports and information that investors consider when reviewing potential ventures, depending on the quality, results and profitability of the company, if they were to apply it correctly, it may grow the company by increasing shareholder quantity.